In the realm of mystery and the unexplained, few stories are as captivating as that of Andrew Carlson, the missing time traveler. Our journey begins in the year 2002 with an unassuming man named Andrew Carlson, who would soon become the center of an enigma that still baffles us today. Carlson wasn't a man who stood out in a crowd. He was your typical Joe, just another face in the sea of humanity. But within him brewed a story so extraordinary, a claim so audacious, it would shake the very foundations of our understanding of reality. In the early half of 2002, Carlson made headlines by making a fortune almost overnight in the stock market. It wasn't his sudden wealth that was extraordinary, but the way he amassed it. Carlson, with an uncanny knack for picking winners, turned an initial investment of $800 into over $350 million in just 2 weeks. A feat that defied all logic and understanding. It was as if he knew the future. The financial world was in a frenzy. How could a man with no prior experience in trading, with no significant background in finance, predict the market with such surgical precision? The Securities and Exchange Commission, the Wall Street watchdog, was equally baffled and suspicious. And so they launched an investigation into Carlson's miraculous trading spree. But it was his response to the probing that threw the world into a whirlwind of curiosity and skepticism. Andrew Carlson claimed he was a time traveler from the year 2256. Yes, you heard that right, a time traveler. He claimed he used this knowledge of the future to make his fortune. And then, as quickly as he had appeared, Andrew Carlson vanished without a trace. His story, however, remains, lingering in our minds as one of the most intriguing mysteries of the 21st century. It's a tale that takes us on a journey through time, truth, and the very fabric of reality itself. It's the enigma of Andrew Carlson, the missing time traveler. In the early 2000s, a man named Andrew Carlson surfaced with a story that would baffle even the most open-minded. Now, who was Andrew Carlson? A sharp-suited Wall Street hotshot, a mathematics genius, or perhaps a lucky gambler? The answer to these questions is far more complicated and far more intriguing than you might imagine. Andrew Carlson, as it turns out, claimed to be a traveler. Not a globetrotter, mind you, but a time traveler. Yes, you heard that right, a time traveler. Carlson claimed to have arrived from the year 2256. Sounds like something straight out of a science fiction novel, doesn't it? But here's where things get even more fascinating. Upon his arrival, Carlson didn't just lay low and try to blend in. No, he decided to play the stock market, and boy did he play it. Starting with a meager $800, Carlson began making stock trades. Not just any stock trades though, high-risk ones. The kind that could either make you a fortune or leave you penniless. But for Carlson, it seemed to be all gain and no pain. He made a total of 126 high-risk stock trades. And here's the kicker, he didn't lose on a single one, not one. His initial $800 ballooned into a staggering $350 million practically overnight. Now you might be thinking, this guy must be some kind of genius, right? Or perhaps he had insider information. But Carlson's answer was far simpler. He claimed he knew the outcome of the trades because, well, he was from the future. Makes sense, right? But the source of his fortune would soon draw unwanted attention. And that, my friends, is where our story really begins. So buckle up because things are about to get a whole lot more interesting. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, suspicious of Carlson's sudden and unexplained wealth, launched an investigation. With the precision of a surgeon, the SEC began to dissect the puzzling case of Andrew Carlson. The SEC, no stranger to cases of insider trading, initially suspected Carlson of using illicit information to manipulate the stock market. His inexplicable ability to predict stock movements with uncanny accuracy had set off alarm bells. This wasn't just a lucky streak, it was as if he had a crystal ball. To the SEC, it was a clear-cut case of insider trading. An individual with no prior experience in the stock market suddenly amasses a fortune. It had all the hallmarks of a classic Wall Street scandal. But as they started to dig deeper, the clues didn't add up. There were no secret informants, no leaked documents, no whistleblowers. The usual smoking guns were conspicuously absent. And then came Carlson's explanation. He claimed to be a time traveler from the future. He said he had used his knowledge of future stock prices to amass his wealth. To the investigators, this was preposterous, a fanciful tale spun to evade justice. But as outlandish as it was the only explanation that filled the gaping holes in their investigation. The SEC's inquiry took a turn for the bizarre. Here they were, seasoned investigators, used to dealing with hard facts and figures, confronted with a claim straight out of a science fiction novel. It was a narrative that was as hard to believe as it was to dismiss outright. The deeper they delved into Carlson's world, the murkier it became. His records were clean, his trades legitimate. His story, though implausible, was consistent. He knew details about the stock market that he couldn't possibly have known. It was as if he really had seen the future. Carlson's seeming ability to predict the stock market was as intriguing as it was baffling. This was not just another case for the SEC. It was an enigma that would leave them questioning everything they thought they knew about time, reality, and the very nature of the stock market. When confronted, Carlson made a claim that would stun the world. He was a time traveler from the year 2256. Yes, you heard it right, 2256, a time period more than 2 centuries from our present. Now that's a plot twist worthy of a Hollywood blockbuster, isn't it? According to Carlson, he was not here for any grand, world-altering mission. No, his purpose was far more mundane. He claimed that he had traveled back in time to take advantage of the stock market. His goal was to amass a fortune, which, considering his almost supernatural knack for predicting the market, he seemed to have achieved quite successfully. His audacious claim sent shockwaves around the globe. The public was divided. Some dismissed it as the desperate ploy of a cornered scam artist. Others, intrigued by the inexplicable accuracy of his stock predictions, wondered if there might be a kernel of truth in his outlandish story. The official response was predictably skeptical. The SEC, unimpressed by his claims of time travel, continued their investigation undeterred. After all, the idea of time travel, while tantalizing, is largely dismissed by the scientific community due to the lack of empirical evidence and the myriad of paradoxes it presents. Psychologists speculated on whether Carlson genuinely believed his own story. Was he delusional? Or was this simply a grandiose lie spun by a man with nothing left to lose? On the other hand, scientists were quick to point out that while time travel is theoretically possible according to Einstein's theory of relativity, we are centuries away from having the technology to achieve it. In the court of public opinion, the debate raged on. Was Andrew Carlson a master manipulator who had concocted an elaborate hoax? Or was he, as he claimed, a visitor from a distant future caught in a time he did not belong? Whether a masterful con artist or a genuine time traveler, Carlson was about to face the consequences. One thing was certain, the story of Andrew Carlson was far from over. And the world watched with bated breath as the saga continued to unfold. But before he could be tried, Carlson did something that shocked everyone. He disappeared. Yes, you heard it right. Andrew Carlson, the man who claimed to be a time traveler, mysteriously vanished right before his scheduled court date. Now this wasn't your average run-of-the-mill disappearance. No, this was a man who was under the watchful eye of the Securities and Exchange Commission, the FBI, and who knows how many other federal agencies. He was facing serious charges, with potential penalties in the millions. Yet, in what seemed like the blink of an eye, he was gone. His sudden and inexplicable absence sparked a frenzy of speculation and intrigue. Theories began to swirl. Some suggested that Carlson had used his supposed time-traveling abilities to escape, while others believed he had been silenced by powerful individuals who didn't want the truth about time travel to be revealed. And then there were those who thought that Carlson had never really existed in the first place, and the whole saga was nothing more than an elaborate hoax. But if that was the case, who had orchestrated it and why? The authorities were baffled. Despite extensive searches and investigations, they found no trace of Carlson. His apartment was found to be empty, his bank accounts untouched, and his personal belongings left behind. It was as if he had simply vanished into thin air. The case of Andrew Carlson is a mystery wrapped in an enigma, a puzzle that seems to have no solution. His disappearance has left a trail of unanswered questions and an air of uncertainty that continues to hang heavy. Did he really travel through time, or was he just a con artist who managed to pull off an elaborate scam? We may never know. Just like that, Andrew Carlson was gone, leaving behind only questions. In the wake of Carlson's disappearance, numerous theories and conspiracies began to circulate. One of the most pervasive theories centers around government involvement. Many believe that Carlson's extraordinary knowledge of the stock market and his subsequent ability to make a fortune attracted the attention of not just the Securities and Exchange Commission, but also shadowy government agencies. The theory goes that these agencies, intrigued by Carlson's claims of time travel, whisked him away to extract his knowledge of the future. Then, there's the extraterrestrial angle, a theory that's hard to ignore in the realm of the unexplained. Some argue that Carlson was not a time traveler, but an alien, or perhaps the subject of an alien abduction. His sudden disappearance, they suggest, was his return to an extraterrestrial home. Adding a dash of the unexplained, another theory proposes that Carlson was a time traveler who decided to return to his own time. This theory is fueled by Carlson's own claims of being from the future. Supporters of this theory believe that Carlson, having made his fortune, chose to go back to the future, leaving no trace of his existence in our timeline. Then, there are those who believe that Carlson was a fraud, a master manipulator who used the cover of time travel to execute a near-perfect financial scam. They argue that his disappearance was merely the final act in a well-orchestrated charade, an escape plan executed flawlessly. Of course, these theories are just that. Theories, speculations, conjectures. Each one is as fascinating as it is unprovable. The truth, as it often does in such cases, remains shrouded in mystery and intrigue. Despite the many attempts to unravel the enigma of Andrew Carlson, his story remains a puzzle, an enigma that continues to captivate our collective imagination, but with no concrete evidence, the truth remains elusive. Despite his disappearance, the legacy of Andrew Carlson continues to captivate and perplex. His tale, as bewildering as it is fascinating, has left a significant impact on popular culture and the collective psyche of the curious. Andrew Carlson, often dubbed as the missing time traveler, has inspired a wave of creativity and exploration. His story has been the muse for numerous authors, filmmakers, and artists, resulting in a myriad of books, movies, and artworks. Each creation, in its own unique way, attempts to unravel the enigma that is Carlson, to make sense of his bewildering claims and his sudden disappearance. The online world, too, has been set ablaze by Carlson's tale. Countless online discussions, debates, and speculations thrive in the digital realm, fueling the mystery and keeping the legacy of Andrew Carlson alive. Web sleuths, armchair detectives, and casual surfers alike find themselves drawn into the web of intrigue that Carlson has spun. Moreover, his story has sparked a special interest among conspiracy theorists. The possibility of time travel, the sudden wealth, the SEC investigation, and the abrupt disappearance, it's a perfect cocktail that keeps the theorists buzzing. Skeptics, on the other hand, continue to dissect his tale, trying to find a logical explanation, a real-world solution to the Carlson conundrum. But perhaps the most profound impact of Carlson's story is on our perception of time and reality. His tale challenges us to question our understanding of the world, to consider the possibility of the impossible, and to ponder over the mysteries that lie beyond our realm of comprehension. As we delve deeper into the 21st century, the legacy of Andrew Carlson continues to echo, reminding us of the infinite possibilities that exist, the mysteries that are yet to be unraveled, and the enigmas that might never be solved. Andrew Carlson, the missing time traveler, remains one of history's most intriguing enigmas. So, what do we make of Andrew Carlson? Was he a time traveler, a clever con artist, or something else entirely? As we delve into the final act of this enigma, we must revisit the intriguing tale of Andrew Carlson, a man who seemingly appeared out of nowhere, made a fortune with inexplicable precision in the stock market, and then vanished as abruptly as he came. His story is steeped in mystery, raising questions that remain unanswered and sparking a debate that refuses to die down. Our protagonist's meteoric rise to wealth was not without its consequences. His uncanny success attracted the attention of the Securities and Exchange Commission, who, suspecting foul play, took him into custody. It was here that Carlson made his extraordinary claim, stating he was a time traveler from the year 2256. This extraordinary claim, as outlandish as it seems, has been the cornerstone of numerous debates. Could time travel be real? Could Andrew Carlson have found a way to traverse the time-space continuum, granting him knowledge of future events? Or was he merely a skilled manipulator using an elaborate ruse to evade the authorities? The mystery further deepens with his sudden disappearance. Here was a man, on the brink of facing serious jail time, who suddenly vanished from a high-security facility, leaving no trace behind. This abrupt exit from the scene only fueled the fire of speculation, adding another layer to the enigma of Andrew Carlson. Despite the countless theories and conspiracies that surround his tale, the truth remains elusive. Was Andrew Carlson a genuine time traveler who slipped through our fingers, a masterful con artist who managed to outwit everyone, or just an ordinary man caught up in an extraordinary situation? Until we have answers, the story of Andrew Carlson remains a tantalizing mystery, a journey through time we may never fully understand.